Today we would like to discuss about plastering, pointing and finishing. Why it is required? What are the importance of it? Why we need to protect the building? All this we'll be discussing in the class. As a last request, I have made it slow now because I am going very fast. Last time some of the people have told, so that I'll be slow, and please take good think about the plastering, pointing. Now we will learn about plastering, pointing and finishing to the building and how it is important. We will discuss. Now, what is this chapter deals with surface finishes. Now, plastering, pointing and finishing, all this comes under surface finishes. What is surface finish? It is a wall, it may be floor, it may be ceiling, all has to be finished. Finish means a proper thickness and proper laying of your surface should be very neat, and it should be very good, and it should be a protective coat for your wall. That these are the main important things that we'll be discussing here. Now, to what is the thing you learn at the end of the lesson? What you will learn is, in this chapter you will learn about surface finishes. What are the different types of surface finishes are there? That is plastering, pointing, painting, etc. But to what you will get the knowledge of all these finishes, it will give you very good or adequate knowledge of finishes now, and also important technical terms related to plastering. What type of plastering, what is the importance of those technical terms, that also will be learning. And the next thing you'll also know about types of pointing. What are the different types of pointing? These all in the end of the lesson you will be able to understand all this, and you will be able to learn that, and you'll get a nice knowledge about this. Okay. Now you are seeing a picture here. In this picture you are able to see that it is unfinished, means the surface of the wall is not finished properly. You are able to see that it is only joints are there, there is no finish for it. It is an unfinished. Roof is there, everything is there, but wall is not, it is exposed outside. That is the reason you need to give a finish. Now what type of finish will be there? What all the other types of finish are plaster? What is plaster and why it is required, we will discuss in the next thing. Surface finishing. Now surface finishing, already I have discussed, surface finishing is nothing but art. You have to finish it, the art of treating the surface of the building material which is suitable for covering and make weather resisting. What is weather resisting?
वो वाली कहाँ है डस्टर?
Ma'am? Madam?
Ma'am, I muted myself now.
Acha. I'm getting so much of sound, that's why I was thinking. Okay. Fine. Okay, now plastering. What is plastering? It is a process of covering a rough surface. Now you have a surface here. This is that already brick wall. On the brick wall, you are finishing it. Means with you are giving a plaster. What type of plaster you are giving depends on type of material you use. Plaster means what? It is a mortar mix. Mortar is a cement mortar, or it can be cement mortar, or it can be a ply mortar, anything. Any type of mortar you can use. But now what is the process? The process of covering. Plastering is nothing but it is a process of covering the surface. And then masonry, any type of masonry, maybe brick masonry, generally stone masonry, as it is a very good thing, then you will be exposed, you will keep it, and only joints will be done. But other surfaces you have to treat it. Now this is plastering. Plastering is a process of covering rough surfaces. Hello? rough surfaces or a masonry on an uneven surfaces. If at all your masonry is not clear also, if you do the coating, that coating is nothing but the plaster. Plaster is nothing but mortar. Mortar is a mix of any binding material and sand with a water proportion, making a proper uh, workable solution where it is a workable thing, so that you can apply, and it will is an adhesive, it is having a plasticity to observe, and it will uh, rest on the wall, and it will give a neat finish. That is the mortar, to obtain smooth, regular, clean and durable surface. Now this all you are doing for your protection of your wall. Okay, now what is the next thing? After plastering, you should know what are the different types of plasters we'll be using. Plastering, what is that? Different types of plasters. What are the different types of plasters are available? What are the different types of plaster? Plaster, whatever the material you use, according to that the plasters are also having a different material. According to that the plaster will differ. Now what is happening? Now olden days we had only mud as a plaster. The various plastering things are what you are using for construction worker. One is mud plaster. Mud plaster is the clay what is available as the earth. It is taken and that will be made into a paste, and that is applied on your walls. That is mud plaster. The next is Mughal plaster. What is this? Mughal plaster. Mud plaster. Second one is Mughal plaster. It is also a plaster. It is one type of plaster. The mix is different. We'll discuss in the next class, in the further session. Now lime plaster. Lime is used. Cement plaster. Cement is used. Gypsum plaster. Gypsum is used. Stucco plaster. It is a decorative plaster. That's why these are the different types of plasters which can be used for a wall. Okay. Next, now you are seeing here, this is the wall to work, whatever the masonry is done here. This is the mud plaster applied on it. This is a mud plaster which is there on the wall. Now Mughal plaster. What is Mughal plaster? I have already told Mughal plaster is a mix of a lime, sand and surki in water in the ratio of 4:3:1, and also with a glue and a powder of gulnut. And this is an artistic. Why it has come as a Mughal plaster? Because in Mughal period, those people used to use this in a basically for all the artistic work as a finishing coat. With not only with this, they had even doing the artistic designs on the walls as a finishing coat. Now you can see the person here doing it here with the plaster, different types of plaster. This is called Mughal plaster. Now what you are seeing here in the picture is mud plaster and Mughal plaster. Mud plaster is applied with the clay and water and a mix of cow dung sometimes, and nowadays there is a mix of a glue that you are applying, then this is called a mud plaster. Mud is the basic whatever the clay available in the earth, and you are nicely making it into a workable paste, and that you are applying on a wall, and that will be your surface treatment. That surface treatment is done with a Mughal plaster. Sorry, mud plaster. Then Mughal plaster is a mix of a lime, sand and surki. Surki is nothing but the brick which is powdered. Powdered brick, overburnt bricks will be powdered, made into a paste. That paste is mixed with your sand, lime and also with a glue and a powder gulnut. Gulnut like you are having soap nuts, like that only. It is one variety of gulnut which is used in a plaster. That you will use it and you will mix it, and happily that you can apply it for your wall, and also you can design with that. That's why this Mughal plaster is more popular in Mughal period. All the architectural things were Red Fort and other things also, you will be seeing such type of plaster and the design work done. The next thing is lime plaster. What is lime? Lime, when lime as a basic material if you use, then it is called lime mortar. That mortar if you are using for your plastering and even for your finishing, then it is called lime plastered. What is lime? Lime is a material what you are getting. Lime is one of the calcium material that you are using it as a paste form, and you are using here as a paste form on your. I hope everybody are seeing the screen where my cursor is moving. You can see here, this is the joints whatever used here in a lime mortar, and the finishing what they have done with the lime. I am showing in the picture here that lime mortar, sorry, lime mortar. You can see that lime mortar is a finishing coat, then it is called lime plastered. Means lime mortar when you use as a joints, it is for lime joints, but once you are using as a plaster, then it is called plastering. Means lime plaster. This is also a protective coat which you are using for your walls. Next thing is cement plaster. What is cement? Cement is a, already we discussed last time, cement is a binding material. That binding material now you are using as a mortar. Mortar is a mixture of sand. Sand is nothing but fine aggregate, and mortar when you made into a ratio, one cement and two sand, and if you mix with the water and it will become a paste form. That paste is only applied, that paste only you are applying as a plaster. That plaster what you can see on this is the brick wall already done with the joints. All the joints are done. This is the thing on that you are giving a plaster. This is called cement plaster. When cement is used as a binding material and cement mortar is used for the plaster, then it is called cement plaster. The next thing is, what is the other plaster? Now we discussed about the lime plaster and cement plaster. Later I have told plaster of Paris, gypsum plaster, Mughal plaster, mud plaster over. Now the plaster of Paris are nothing but the gypsum plaster. Now presently everybody are taking this a calcium thing which is done, and the CaSO4 already last time when we have discussed about this cement, we have seen that that is very small quantity they are using for cement, but here the gypsum plaster, the total powder it is used, and this is also made as a paste and it is applied on the wall, so that this is also a different type of plaster that is called. When gypsum is used as a building material, plaster material, then it is generally it is used for interiors and also very sometimes for a decorative outside. Now you can see in the screen whatever the thing it is applied here on the wall, the brick wall at the back side, and this is the decorative finishing coat which it is given here, and this is the plaster which you are using for gypsum plaster or plaster of, it is also called as Paris finish. Okay, because people there they have used in the first. Now what is the purpose of the plastering? Now if we are telling finishing we have done, what is that we have done the finishing. Now plastering is done for what? What is the purpose of it? If we do, it should have some qualities and it should have some achievements. What you have achieved after doing it. If it is an exposed work, it can be good, but it will not be having a resistance to the weather. That is the reason you need to know about the plastering. Plastering is done to achieve the following objectives. What is that? First to protect the external surfaces. Whatever the surface, if it is, you have seen in the first slide, unfinished work I have shown how it is if it is exposed. If it is exposed like that, I have shown you in the starting that unfinished work, if it is there, how it is, right? Now this is unfinished work. Now you are seeing this surface. If it is finished, it will be a different thing. Unfinished work, it will not give an aesthetic look. It will not give a good thing, and it may resist to the weather or not, we don't know. That is the reason if your water comes or if it is exposed like this, it is not protective and it may deteriorate. That reason we need to about the things that is covering material what you are using, that may be plasters. Anyhow, we'll discuss in the all next thing, plastering. Now till now different types of plasters we have used. Whatever the different types of plasters we have completed, now what is the purpose of it? To achieve or to give a good protective finish. Protective finish means here external surfaces, whatever water if it is coming, it has to resist, and it should not give an atmospheric appearance also should be good, and it should be very neat and smooth surface so that you can clean, and it will not take more of the dust and it will not stay there. So that all these things will be a purpose. What is the finishing has to be done for these purposes. First thing is to protect the external surface. External surface, if it is protected from the weathering agents, you are protecting. Then it is, if it is made smooth surface, then it is very easy. If you put and clean also, it will be neat, and you can, no dust will stand on it, and that will, it will not lodge on it. That is, dirt and dust will not lodge on it, and it will be a decorative. The smooth surface gives a pleasant appearance to your eye, and it protects the surface against so many other type of worms and other things also. That is the thing you need to give a wall finishes. Now what is the purpose of wall finishes? Wall finishes is done by plastering to do get the all these objectives. What is the technical involved in plastering? And we have already discussed in the starting. In the end of the lesson, you will be able to know about the technical terms related to plastering. Now I'm discussing about that. One, the first one is dubbing out. Now once the wall is constructed here, and if any type of works if it is given, you can see that it has to be finished properly. That is the reason you need to apply the small the filling of holes here and all, whatever the filling has to be done, so that the filling the holes spaces of the background before applying the plaster. If you want to apply a plaster like this, before that you have to do the filling of holes. Now for the construction, they will give the rods, bamboo sticks in between, and then they'll construct for the bond for a higher walls. When you do that, that holes will be there, that spacing will be there. That spacing has to be removed. How it will be removed? Only by filling the holes. That hollow spaces has to be filled, and you make a background. It should be very neat background. What is background? The first thing what you are seeing here, the person he is applying on the wall. Here you can see that person is applying here. This is the first thing on which he is applying this. This is called background. The surface on which the first coat of plaster is applied is called background. Okay, what is the first coat of is applied, then it is called background. Now you can see here, this is the background and this is the plastering. Now whatever dubbing out is not the artist you are giving a song or not. Here dubbing out is nothing but finishing or filling the holes of the spaces and background before applying the plaster. Before applying any plaster, you have to do this. This is called dubbing out. First and foremost, once the wall is completed, wherever the small holes are there or any type of thing, because for the construction work, when scaffolding is done, that time they will use that spacing. That spacing also will be filled, and any uneven surfaces also will be filled before applying the plaster. This is called plaster. Now he is done on a wall. A person is applying this as a plaster. This dubbing out is done in this picture. You can see now whatever it is, dubbing out made all those things and making that. Now the background is there. Now he made that background. Now background is nothing but the surface to which the first coat of plastering is applied is called background. Now this is the first coat. On this, the first coat of plaster is applied. This is called background. Now you have a background on which means you have a wall. On the wall only you will be able to splash it, or you can throw that and you make that vertical surface very smooth or rough or any type of thing. You have different types of coats you have to discuss. We'll discuss in the further class. What is hacking? The technical terms. Now the third one is hacking. Once you have done the first coat, now you have done this coat, this you are smoothening, and when this coat is done, after that if you want to give a other coat on it, you need to have hacking done. Hacking after drying only you can do the next coat. What is hacking? Why hacking is important? The process of making the background rough. Now you can see that they have made a rough surfaces here on this. In this picture you can see that hacking is nothing but making the surface hatched like, so that it will act as a key. Now one more surface if it is having, you can see that it is applied on it. You can see all the whatever it is applied on the wall, it is saying you have to have some key this thing, so that whatever hacked out means one surface, on the surface only it can be it will hold, that will be acting as a key to your plaster. That is called hacking, right? The next thing is finishing coat. What is a finishing coat? The last coat or the final layer of a surface finish is called finishing coat. Means once neatly, smoothly, if it is done, now it is called finishing coat. Now, whatever we have discussed, background is required for a dubbing out you have to do, then background has to be done, then it has to be hashed out for the next coat. That next coat is done. Now that is the last coat what you are using, it is called final coat or finishing coat. It is always called as finishing coat. Now, other technical term you can see in the section here. I'll show you what is undercoat. What is undercoat? The layer provided base for an application of remaining coats is called undercoat. Now, if you have done the first surface coat is done, that is called render. It is also called as rendering. One more coat, it is called, you can see that red color and yellow color. Now it is called floating. The process of providing a finishing coat is called floating. Floating is nothing but it is the surface on which you are applying, that is called, once the background, that is called rendering. The first background you have done a rendering, after render you have a floating. The floating is nothing but the finishing coat. To provide a finishing coat, that one tool called float is used to apply and you have to finish it, then it is called finishing coat. With floats, that is called floating. The process of providing a finishing coat with a float is called floating. This is done, this is undercoat. Undercoat is the base coat. The layer provided base for the application of remaining coats. Undercoat means you should have a coat, the base coat. On that only you have one more coat, that is called undercoat. On that you are doing the final coat, then it is called final coating. That's why with the float, if you are using, it is called floating. Floating is nothing but the process of providing a finishing coat. With the float. Float is a tool. With that, if you are doing, it is called floating. Next thing. Now, in the technical terms, if at all your plastering is not done properly, or if it is in a time period, if you don't do the finishing properly, what will happen? What are the other types of plastering things you will be having? In that technical terms, I want to discuss now. This is called blistering. You are seeing in the sketch what is happening here. You can see that it is like popped out from the wall. What is happening? It is a swelling. Once if you get any hurt, if you are getting, you'll get a swelling like that. Here for your wall also, this blistering is happening. The local swelling of a finished plaster or painted base is known as blistering. Blistering, whatever the painted, you have already done the finishing coat, but after sometimes if it is not done properly and if you don't maintain, then this will be the condition. Now you can see plaster or painted face is known as blistering. This is due to lack of adhesive of the plaster or a paint with the surface. If you are giving one coat, if it is not giving a proper plaster or proper adhesiveness. Adhesiveness means like a Fevicol, it has to stick properly. If it doesn't stick properly, then only it will have the problem with the thing like this, right? That is the reason you need to know the local swelling of a, local means on the wall wherever it is swelling. Means it is giving, as adhesive is not there, it is not properly fixed, you'll get that like bulbed out. When if you are taking a paper, when you take a paper on that, if you fix one more paper and if you are not giving a adhesive properly, it will like a bulge, it will come out. That same type of thing only it is applied, it is coming on your wall, that is called blistering. The local swelling of a finished plastered or a painting surface is known as blistering. This is generally coming because the plaster is not having a proper adhesive due to lack of adhesiveness. Adhesiveness is nothing but the sticking property. Okay, plaster or a paint with the surface. If the surface is not having this thing, then it is called blistering. The next thing is called peeling out. The removal of plaster from the background is called peeling. Why it will happen? If at all your wall finish, if you are not given properly, and the cushioning thing, if you are having a softness at the background or the other coat, undercoat, that time it will start peeling off. Means it is not having the proper adhesiveness and also soft cushioning. Means in the earlier stage, whatever it has been given, now that it is coming out. Means it is not having the, it is taking out its adhesiveness is not there. Then if you are taking out, then it is called peeling. Okay, the next thing is cracking. The development of angular, you will see sometimes once the cracking will start, then peeling will come. These two are the all are related. First swelling is nothing but the blistering. Then the peeling, removing of plaster, means from the background it is coming out. And then cracking, the development of angular fraction. Nothing will develop like a straight, like a grid, because it depends on however it will go. That's why the development of angular fractures or cracks in a plastered surface is called cracking. In case of painting, it indicates the presence of soft undercoat. If you have a soft undercoat, if it is not getting that plastered properly, then the surface is cracking and coming out. This is what it happens now. Okay, then what is the next thing? The other technical terms, skirting. What is skirting? Everybody know, floor is done. Once the floor is done, now you can see in the picture here, this is the floor and this is the skirting. It is a special treatment. Why we are doing this? This is to protect the wall against that dampness and other things, because your floor is getting cleaned regularly, and because of that, whatever the skirting, the water should not enter to the wall and it should not give the effects of blistering, uh, peeling and all other things. That is the reason you are doing a skirting. Skirting will be always done from the ground to the uh, wall to the floor. Means this is the floor and this is the wall. Now wall and this has to be given so that you can see that in the sketch, saying that this is the skirting. Skirting will be done from the ground 15 centimeters up, from the ground level, means on the floor level. Now floor is this, the finished floor. Whatever the floor you are using, the same material also can be used here, depends on your selection and other things. The special treatment provided to the plastered wall at this lower level is called, for a living rooms or any type of rooms, it is called skirting. Now skirting is nothing but it is a finish. Why you are doing it? It is only because it is usually the material what you want to use, you can use it, and it is done to protect the wall from washing of your floors and other things, so that it is protect the wall and the floor. The floor has to be clean. When it is cleaning, that wall should not get affected. That is the reason we are using it, is called skirting. Skirting is a special treatment provided to plastered walls at their lower levels, usually in drawing and living rooms of a building, is called skirting. Now generally from here, from the ground, it is 150, means 15 centimeters or 150 mm. You'll be taking according to the material of that only. Next thing is dadoing. What is dadoing? The special treatment provided to the plastered wall at their lower levels, usually in bathrooms. Generally, you will protect this wall so that water sprinkled here also will be taken out. Okay, provided it will be for 1 meter, sometimes it will be till 2100 also. Okay, that's why it is provided up to a 1 meter height from the floor level. Generally for your bathrooms and other things it will come. Okay, is given here. Now you can see from this here, this is the skirting and this portion is your dadoing. Dado is the process of doing the dado treatment is called dadoing. Okay, now next, the other treatment what we will be knowing is pointing. What is pointing? Now you may think how all the, when we have done the plastering, why we have to do pointing? Sometimes you require, you are using a very good building material, maybe first class bricks, nice stones or anything. You want to give the surface the same treatment and it has to be like that. Like that also you can use. Sometimes your already your exposed work is that it is done, then the maintenance for that you require, for that also you can use pointing. Pointing is nothing but the joints you are treating so that the water will not enter or any surface water will not enter to your rooms. For that you are using this. For that you will be using the treatment pointing. Okay, sorry. Pointing in the building maintenance, the technique of repairing mortar joints between bricks or other masonry elements. What is happening here? Now you can see the brick here and the joints are done. These joints are again treated with a rich mortar. When you are treating this with a rich mortar, then it is called pointing. It can be done as a repair work also. Now you can see this in the picture saying that this person is taking out the tool. With that he is giving the treatment there and filling it with a rich cement, not to disintegrate, not to disinfect the mortar. If at all the mortar has gone already, then you can give a rich mortar and then you can finish it. That is the reason. When aging of mortar, sometimes mortar you, after taking some time, if you want to repair your house also, that time you can do the joints like this, pointing can be done. Now when the mortar is defective, that time also you can done and moved by hand or a power tool. Now this I'm not telling, because replaced with a fresh mortar. Fresh mortar always should have a composition according to the richness, depending upon the climatic conditions and also other things related to the preferences. Whatever the preferences means, depending upon the situation, climatic conditions and how you wanted to do the finishing. According to that, we have so many types of pointing things that we will discuss in the next thing. Now why it is required? Pointing in a building, pointing is nothing but a surface finish which you are doing only for the joints in a masonry, so that to enrich that and also to give a surface treatment. Okay, next, the purpose of the treatment. Now you can see here in this sketch, you are seeing that these are the joints. In this joints you are seeing it has to be filled. Now background, all whatever I have told, it can be done. But for this, if you want to give a treatment, it can be done like this also. This treatment not only to protect the joint from the adverse effects of the atmosphere, but also to give a magnificent appearance. Appearance means it will look very good, aesthetically beautiful also. And some gives a pattern look. It gives a very nice pattern look. Okay. For this, whatever the thickness you have taken, the colors, the textures, etc., all will give very good treatment for it. Okay, next, what you have to use for doing that? Mortar. Pointing may be done by using lime or cement mortar. What type of mortar? Lime mortar is when lime is used as a mortar material. Then I have shown in the earlier sketch slides saying that using lime as a mortar, then it is called lime mortar. And a cement as a mortar, it is a cement mortar. The mortar for lime pointing is made by taking equal parts of flat lime and fine sand. Fine sand means it should go and it should be sieved, and at 4.75 mm, more less than that, it should be there, and that should be like rava. Whatever you'll and other things like that, that it should be like a rava, like that very fine sand it should be taken, so that the rich mortar can be done. Now the rich mortar will have one part, whatever the fat lung you are using, then you are using grind whatever the sand, fine sand. The fine sand I already discussed. Now it has to be sieved and it should be very fine, and that fine grinded mix, it has to be mixed thoroughly and make into a mortar. That mortar in a mill, whatever you are doing, it is very nice paste already. A mortar is a paste. That paste has to be done with your trowel or your float. You have to apply it and you have to make it. That mortar is used for pointing, not only pointing, even for plastering. The mortar for a cement pointing is made by mixing cement and sand in proportion of 1:2 and 1:3. What is 1 and what is 2? If I am asking what is 1, everybody thinks what is this 1 and 2. 1 is cement and 2 is aggregate, fine aggregate. What is fine aggregate? Fine aggregate is nothing but the sand. The sand is only called fine sand, is fine aggregate. Fine sand, what I'm telling, it has to be sieved from 4.75 mm, very small sieve, and that whatever you are getting, the remaining, that is like rava type, whatever very fine thing, that it is used for mortar. That mortar is used for pointing. Pointing is that treatment which you are doing for your joints, for your masonry. Already have discussed, it is giving a pleasant look. Now mortar what you are using, the proportion of 1:2. If you mix only sand and cement, it will not become a mortar. It has to be mixed with the water for a proper consistency, so that it can be applied on the wall, or also for the plaster, or for the enrichment of your pointing. Means the joints to be filled up. I'll show you. Now this is called the pointing. Once it is dressed neatly and then given your finish, this is called pointed surface of a brick wall. Now you can see this is taken out, and you can see a rich mortar is filled and it is painted. Now this is the surface what here. You can see in the interior also, sometimes you can see such type of walls will be left over like that only by doing pointing, so that it is also giving a look, and also it can be the aesthetically, it can be seen all the exposed work, but still it is protecting. If you without plastering also, you can do this as a pointing work. Once the pointing work is done and exposed thing, even you see that this is the rich mortar which they have used it. You can see in my sketch here, this is what is the treatment in a small wall I have shown, and here you can see it is an interior of one house, where you are seeing that this is the floor and this is the wall. This is the finished floor, this is the finished wall, but with pointing. Now the subject what we are speaking is regarding pointing. Pointing is nothing but it is an art of treating the joints of a masonry wall to enrich the beauty and also give pattern or pattern to your surface. Where surface treatment what it is also one type of finishing. This finishing is also there. Now the types of pointing we will discuss. Now what are the types of pointing? Cut pointing, weathered pointing, stuck pointing. All these are almost a different kind of pointing. Then V-groove pointing, keyed pointing, tuck pointing, flush pointing, and beading. These are all the types of pointing. We'll discuss one after the other. Cut pointing, cut, weathered, or stuck pointing. These three, either or all are giving the same thing, but all are different. All are types of pointing. In that, the first one is cut, weathered, or stuck pointing, V-grooved pointing, keyed pointing, tuck pointing, and flush pointing and beading. These are the different types of pointing. One is, we'll discuss about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just now. Now flush pointing. What is happening here? Now this is the brick and this is the brick. And the mortar is done already. Now this is the joint. Now the joints are done. Now this is the rich mortar which has been inserted here as a flush, and it is flushing to your this surface and this surface. It is giving a uniform surface but with a rich treatment of mortar. It is the mortar is pressed into the racket joints. Now this is having little small recess, means having little space inside. It is recessed out, racked into racked joints and finished off flush with the edges. Now you can see with the edges of the buildings, bricks or stones. It can be for any type of building material. You can use this pointing. It no need to have anything. Even if it is uneven surface, polygonal work, that time also you can use the pointing. The mortar, whatever it is pressed into the racket joint. This is the mortar pressed into the racket joint. Racket means the taken out. Means they have scooped out little, like how you are taking out your ice cream from your bowl and you are taking out, and then like that. Here, the from the joints, they are removing these joints here. Whatever the joints it is there, it is removed, and you are giving, supplying or uh, giving them a good rich mortar, like you are giving strengthened mortar, so that it is giving a pointing effect for you. The mortar is pressed into the racked joints, means whatever taken out and it is given, and flushed to the edges. Now these two are edges of the brick or a stone, as a give smooth appearance. These edges are then neatly trimmed with the trowel and a straight edge. You can see it is the process of doing. Now the flush pointing. Okay, flush pointing means it is a straight line. Means you are having these two joints and that is taken out and reached. Like that you are getting. This is called flush pointing. Next thing, what you will be seeing here is cut or weathered pointing. Okay, cut or weathered pointing. The mortar is first pressed into the rack joint. Now you can see how they have done the thing, same way you have doing. Here they are pressed inside towards the direction like this. Then this is called cut, means remove that surface. You can see the joint here. Now this is the recessed portion, and this is the mortar which you have raised. Here it is flush pointing, but here it is pressed, means first pressed into the racked thing and made a slope. How much? Maybe 3 to 6 mm, depending upon how much ever the thickness of it. Generally it is racked, and while the mortar is still in wet condition only, you have to do this. The top of the horizontal joint is nearly pressed about 3 to 6 mm with a pointing tool. In a pointing tool, you will be doing this work. This is called cut or weathered pointing. These are the types of pointing we are discussing. One is flush pointing. The second one is cut, weathered or stuck pointing, where you can see that it is making an angle so that it is giving a weathering effect. What is weathering effect? When water is falling or sprinkling here, it will flow off like this, but it will not go into the joint. That is the reason this is called weathered pointing. Means an exposed work, when it is getting, it will be weathered. That is called weathered joint. Okay, next is V groove. Now what is V groove? Now you can see it is like a V point here. Either it is called outside, both the sides it is done. Now water, if it sprinkles, it will go off here from here. Like that, same way you have one more. Now this type of pointing, V grooved pointing, is in this type of pointing made similar to keyed or grooved pointing, means earlier joint what we have seen, by suitably shaping the end of the steel rod to be used for forming the groove. Some steel rod like you'll use for making this groove. Now this is one brick, and this is the brick, and this is the joint. In the joint, whatever that rich mortar you are giving from here to here, this is that rich mortar is made into this shape. That is called V grooved pointing. This is one more type. And one more keyed pointing. What is keyed pointing? The mortar is pressed into the racket joints and finished off flush with the face of the wall. Means according to the face, it is here also it is facing, but it is inside. But here also it is inside, but in a reverse manner. It is formed bent with a small steel rod 6 mm in dia, straight along the center. This is the procedure of doing. The vertical joints are also finished in the same manner. The same manner only it will be done. Now what is the third and fourth one? Now V grooved pointing, and the last one is keyed pointing. Okay. Now what is beaded pointing? Now you are making some beading like this. The mortar is pressed and racked joints and finished off flushing with the face of the wall. After that, a steel rod using its end suitably shaped in a run straight along the center line of the joints to form a beading. Now you are seeing, now this is what the beading, how they are doing this. This is called beading pointing. Beaded. Now you are saying like a curved pointing, it is done. Then when it is done like this circular, then it is called beaded pointing. When it is done in a square type of model, then it is called tuck pointing. The mortar is first pressed into the racked joints, and thereafter it is finished flushed with the face of the wall. The top and the bottom edges of the joints are cut parallel so as to have a uniformity raised band about 6 mm high and 10 mm in width. Now 6 mm and 10 mm width it has to be. Now this joint, now you have to take out this inside 6 mm and here this is 10 mm. Like this you are doing, this is called tuck pointing. I'll show in the picture here in the next how the tuck pointing is done. Before doing the pointing and after doing the pointing, you can see the difference of your structure here. You can see this, whatever the joints are done, they have racked out and kept it, and now after finishing, they have done with the rich mortar, with the beading, whatever the tuck type of pointing they have done, and you can see this is the tuck pointing. Tuck pointing is done. Now these are the pointing. Now what are the advantages of it? Now we need to discuss about the advantages. One is brick pointing is most effective. Olden days, if you see many of the buildings, maybe any architecture you will see, such type of buildings are more and more effectively they have done. What is that? Olden buildings also they have restored to a very good condition, and the physical appearance of the building and the structure will be very good. Okay, and whatever it can be, repair the structural integrity of your building so that brickwork will also give a proofing and ensures waterproofing to your walls, restores all your appearance. You can see I have shown in the sketch here tuck pointing. This is the old, whatever it has become old. Now they have done the tuck pointing and made the building like this. This is an old structure which was constructed long back. After that, they have finished with the pointing. This is surface ring, even external and outside also. This is also one type of finishing where you have done this. This is also very good for doing it. That's why pointing is also one type of thing, but now require a skilled workmanship, whether available according to that we can take them. Now this is to ensure waterproofing in your wall, restore the overall appearance and the brickwork of your home, and maintain significance so that it is done, and reduce any ongoing maintenance of your brickwork. You can, these are the advantages of pointing. Pointing is to not only repair, even for basic work also you can do, and it gives the very good appearance after finishing, and it gives color. Now we'll discuss about other finishings. What are the other finishings? In the starting I told plastering, pointing and finishing. Now in finishing, it doesn't mean only the wall has to be finished. It has to finish the other components of your building also. What are the other components of a building which is required here? But I am not discussing more about other things, but for still finishing work is a fine job. You can see that ultimately the finishing, if it is not good, it looks like that unfinished work home which I have shown in the first one. The same way, the finishing works is a very fine job in a building construction process, where it forms the beauty of the building. Means you can see if the finishing is good, automatically the beauty of the building will be enhanced. Okay, several types of finishes can be used based on materials used. Whatever the materials, according to the materials, it will also enhance. But which type of material you'll use? It depends on the environmental conditions and the cost according to your budget. It depends on this. But you have mud finishing also, Mughal finishing, Mughal plaster finishing also, like that. So many finishes are there. But how you take it and how you'll finish it depending upon your environmental conditions, climatic conditions, and the cost of it. Now the final finishing of the building. What is the finishing of the building is categorized into three things. One, I'm discussing only few in that. floor finish. If your wall is finished, if your floor is not finished, it is not full. Then wall finishing, ceiling means in a interior of your room, these three has to be finished. First is floor, wall and ceiling. Ceiling is the under surface of your slab. Slab is nothing but it is a protective layer where you are having like a roof. Now that is under surface of your slab has to be treated. Okay. Now flooring, wall finishing and ceiling. Now we discuss more about wall finishing. Now our chapter is regarding that, but other finishes also have to tell. I'm telling you. The next one is the advantages of finishes. Already have given you. The advantages are nothing but it is only to uh, give a good look and structure and also to maintain. Okay, next thing is now you can see the other materials used, that is wood wall paneling. This is when wood is taken as a paneling material, then means as a wall finish. Then marble, if you are taking as a wall finish, then it can be, you can use it for a floors or even for your thing. Next, plywood also is one of the type of finishing. Now you can see that exposed concrete finish, that is also the next finish, and smooth stone finish, you can see the in the sketch here. Now it is also clay brick finish. These are the different types of finishes we have discussed now. Now you, from the starting what we have discussed today, one is plastering, types of plastering. Hello. uh, Types of plastering, finishing and different types of finishes used for the building. Okay. Any questioner? Any questioner? Ma'am? Ma'am, any questioner?
अपने पास लगा लिया दूर करो उसको
Else?
Hello.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. We'll discuss from the starting once again. We'll recall or revise plastering, pointing and finishing, different types of finishes. Sir, plastering is one of the finishing. Pointing is also one of the finishing. And the last and the foremost, different types of materials when you use for a finishing thing, it is called a different type of finish. That can be wooden finish, or it can be panels, it can be marble, or it can be anything. Those things will be called cladding also. We'll discuss in the next class about the cladding and the different types of walls.
बिल्कुल नहीं
Kama aadmi.
Madam, shall I stop?
Stop.
No
Yeah.
question there till now. I asked any doubts? I'll revise once again. I think time is up as such. Wooden wall panels, finishes. What is the things we have discussed today? Technical terms related to the plastering, types of plaster, different types of plastering, then types of mortar which we are using for different plasters. It is called different types of plasters, lime mortar, etc. Even also we have discussed about the Mughal plaster. Okay. Then plastering, why it is required, and what are plastering, painting and painting, different finishes, all this. If it's unfinished work, how it is, and all this. Now, ultimately, you have got the knowledge of this, that is adequate knowledge on the finishes, their technical terms, and types of pointing.